Hi guys, hi from Andrea Unger. The Unger Academy, does it work? Of course, I always said it takes a lot of effort. It takes commitment, hard work to be successful in trading, and only committed people can succeed in getting something. There are anyway students who got results from what they studied. And today I want to present to you one of these students. A student who was able to achieve some important goals in his training. Listen to this interview, hoping tomorrow you could be sitting there and releasing a similar interview.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Claudio. I come from a small village in Italy. It's called Fondi, in the center of Italy. I live now in Geneva since 5 years, and I work as an IT project manager for a multinational company here. So that's basically my daily job, my daily life. And let's say as a hobby, I started to look at financial markets since 2016. I started with stock picking on the US market, and then going on I found systematic trading, automatic trading, and I liked it, and so I started to develop more my knowledge on this area, let's say. Well, I choose automated trading because on the market on the training market for trading, there are a lot of trainers, which supposedly everyone teach you the best strategy ever, but then if you look at them, if you listen to them, everyone teach you something that does not always have sense, or what someone teach actually conflicts with someone else. So at the end you are left really with a lot of confusion and unsecure, so you are not really sure if you want to start trading or not. And at least for me, I was really unsecure to start discretionary trading, let's say. So on the other side, for automatic trading, I really like the fact that you could test your strategy in the past. You could then evaluate the performance of the strategy, understand better which could be the expected returns, expected drawdowns, and for me that was definitely a better and more structured way of working. Also, I'm a very impulsive person, so I don't think I would be able sometimes to put some trades on in some market situation while the system doesn't care about those things, and many times it acts better than me. And then I have a full-time job, so it was very difficult for me to find the time to trade, as I really need to be focused on my job from 9 to 6. So I like the fact that with automated trading I could have traded the markets while working, and I was just checking the result in the evening or during the weekend. Which market do I trade? Despite most of the automatic trades are basically futures trading, I do a lot of trading on Forex. So I'm basically developing most of my system on the Forex market, and I'm currently trading live only the Forex market. Not because it's the easier market to approach. Actually, I think everyone knows the statistic. Basically 80 to 90% of the Forex trader lose money over time. But I choose Forex mainly because first it was good to start with a reduced capital, and I had a reduced capital, so I wanted to start without risking too much of my money. Then you can work better on the money management, and you can scale down a lot on the Forex market, so which was able for me to to contain the risk and to push a bit more on the money management side. I use multi-charts as a platform, and the broker currently is Dukascopy, and the data feed is also Dukascopy data feed. I was using interactive brokers before, at least as a broker, but then I found out that commission for the size I was trading were too high, interest were really high in interactive brokers, and also the reporting side of interactive brokers was not really super clear. So I decided to move to Dukascopy, and since 1 year I'm very happy with it. And all the systems are currently live on a virtual private server, so VPS, which is in Germany. I did during Unger Academy. I did trading system supremacy, which is the base course where Andrea tells you how to approach and how to study each market. So that is the one I taught. Yeah, so basically main problem was I was really insecure if what I knew was actually a real edge on the Forex market. So I was not sure if the strategy I knew were actually profitable or not. That's why I decided to go with the course, let's say. Well, basically the course gave me a structured way to approach the different markets, not only future markets, but the approach I think works also on Forex, at least for the time being. Everything is going good, and it basically teaches you how to understand which is the nature of the market, which triggers works better. It teaches you how to work with bias, monthly bias, daily bias, hourly bias, and on the other side, basically, you really understand methodology which you can replicate or enhance, let's say. And more than that, the course itself as a forum, where you have basically other people checking your strategy, evaluating it. You may see strategy from other traders, and that helps you, let's say, and increase the learning curve. So basically, you get more knowledge as in relatively small time, let's say. Why I choose a course from Unger Academy? Basically because if you really want, I always thought if you really want to learn something, try to learn from someone which have already showed that is an expert on the field. And I think Andrea has already shown that by winning several contests in trading. And if it was not Andrea, especially in the last few years, were one of the people which have also followed Andrea's courses. So I really thought, okay, this guy is an expert, so I should learn first from him. And on the other side, in the markets of trading education, there is a lot of trainers which, they pretend to be good trainers, but many of them has never played the game. I think many of them has never put a trade on. So I wanted really to follow someone which is a real trader, and Andrea already shown that, because every year is post his result. So year per year you can see the result that Andrea is having with his method, let's say. I didn't have many concerns, to be fair. I basically watched the webinar. I liked it from the first time, the way in which was showing how to approach the market, how to define filters, how to backtest. So I really liked the structured way to approaching the markets, and I say, okay, let's give it a try. Okay, so basically I started trading live 2019, March 2019. I have an account with 36,000 euros. So as I said before, not a very large account, and I didn't want to risk money. So I wanted really to keep my risk as low as possible. So I started in March 2019, and then I finished now 1 year, end of March 2020, with a resulting equity of 50,000 euro, so a profit of 14,000, which is basically a return of 38%, basically almost 40% of the invested capital. And this includes also all the commission costs, like forex commission, swaps, spreads, so all costs are included in these 14,000 euros. Basically, what you received the equity line, so you can show that, and I also send the extracts from the broker in case anyone wants to verify that the numbers sum up. And also that I'm not saying something which is not true. And then what I like of the equity is that the fact that I didn't have large drawdowns during this period. Basically, the larger drawdowns was about 2,400 euros, yeah, which correspond to 5% of the account. And I got it during the last month in March 2020. And it was mainly due to the fact that the crude oil had a gap down recently, and that created a forex, let's say, flash crash in the forex market. Several pairs, especially the one that are linked to the crude oil, started to make huge ranges, and huge, let's say, volatility was huge in the market, with more than 400, 500 pips per day on some pairs, and that was a bit of a problem in the first day. So I had to adjust on the first week, enlarge some of the stops of such strategies, stop some other. But then at the end, March result, as you can see from the equity that most probably will be shown, it's anyway a very positive month. And let's see now for the rest of the month, let's say. I started the course in April 2018. So basically it took me some time to develop a set of system, and also it took me some time to put in place the infrastructure, set up the VPS. So basically then also I had to change broker because I was not happy with interactive brokers. So basically took me almost 2 years to get to those results. Yeah. Yeah, first of all, let's say I had to risk. I had to keep the risk under control, so I was really keen on risk management and make sure that I would not risk more than 1% to 1.2% on each trade. Then the other point was to really diversify a lot. I know that in Forex you can diversify too much, but at least I try to diversify in terms of time frame, in terms of currency pairs, in terms of type of strategy which I was using on each currency pairs. So for example, some reversal or trend following, hourly bias, multi-day bias. So basically try to have 4 or 5 strategy for each of these typology. Today, for example, I have around 22 system which let's say they are eligible to trade live, which is already a filtering of a lot more. Let's say usually if I don't like a system, I filter it out, I scrap it, I don't even consider it to trade it live. So 22 is the result of the system which I've considered good enough to be used for live trading, and out of those 14 of them are currently live. And then the last point, as one of the main points that impacted me to get those results, I think you need to keep studying, keep learning new things. I don't consider myself as a professional for sure, I think it was a good year, and I was most probably also lucky. But I try every time to improve my knowledge. Basically, I'm now studying a lot on equity control, how to rotate portfolios, try to find, enhance my my methods, adding, for example, new filters, finding, try to find additional edges, let's say. What did I like most of the course? Basically, I like the fact that Andrea is very practical. We're teaching how to approach the market. So basically, he makes a lot of example. It goes step by step. So basically, it teaches you something that is very easy to replicate and to enhance. So basically, and also teach you something that works on, at least for my experience, not only on futures but also on other markets. So it was good to see that that he was teaching by example. I had also homeworks which I did to verify what I understood was correct or not, and also teach you how to play with the platform. Gives you also some nice tricks that I think they are only derived from his experience. Sometimes when you watch twice the records, you can see that sometimes he really gets some nice tips. So yeah, that is what I liked of the course. I definitely recommend to everyone which aspires to become a systematic trader. And on the other side, also for persons that are discretionary trader, that they would like to have an additional hedge to evaluate what they are doing, if it has sense or not, let's say. First of all, try to find a method that works and that allows them to trade comfortably. Keep the risk low. So don't risk more than 1% of your trading account per trade. Not start only with one strategy, start with a portfolio of at least 6, 8, just to make sure that you get some benefit from the diversification, to lower the drawdown, and try to create a system that are that have low correlation to one another. So try to create systems that are not on the same currency or on the same future. Try to use different time frame, different approach, and yeah, so basically those ones. No, basically I just want to say good trading to everyone. Just during this period, you may have seen there is a lot of publicity, let's say, like boom of trading online, and you have also a lot of free time because we are staying at home because of the COVID-19. So just pay attention. It's not as easy as it seems. So basically, make sure that you keep your risk low and don't approaching the market during those days. It's not easy and can be very risky because of the volatility in place. So please make just sure that if you start with low amount. Maybe wait that this period is over, and yeah, try really to learn from people that have done this before, and they are realistically show what you can expect from online trading. That's it.
So guys, this was it. I hope it was interesting. Well, I'm sure it was, and maybe now you feel committed, you want to go, start, or you are simply curious. Never mind. If you want to know something more about what's inside the Unger Academy, what you can find there, what it is all about, there is a link here below. You can register and you get for free some interesting information about what could happen to you if you go further in the Unger Academy.